And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace is what we always say. We talk about our expert contributors, local area business owners and representatives that take their time out of their busy schedules. They come on the air and they talk about things that make you more street smart as a consumer, ways that you can avoid commission-based advice, commission breath out there. We're going to help you save time and money with all these important decisions in your life, and we like to do that by interviewing our expert contributors. We've got Shane Socash coming on the program. He's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. He talks about investments into alternative investments like precious metals, gold, jewelry, diamonds, and all types of collectibles. David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin coming on the show on the second half of the program. We're going to be kicking off here in just a moment with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, hurricane concerns and prep work in the contracting world, county and city permitting, supply chain, and other topics of interest as well. And we'd like to thank our sponsors as well. This segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions. Say hello to Stephen and Lisa Gunnan over at Replenish IV Solutions. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. And what we're talking about is a vitamin infusion drip, goes directly into your bloodstream. You got these crucial vitamins and nutrients that are going to boost your immunity, help you perform optimal. And I just love going to visit my friends at Replenish IV Solutions. Make sure you let them know the consumer quarterback sent you. All right, we like to feature our real estate listings live on air. We help our sellers profit more and sell faster by pitching our listings live to thousands of people every day. Thanks for all that are calling into the show hotline, by the way, 813-917-1894. You can call or text that number. It's an off-air line, 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. All right, we got a hot listing at 219 Castle Keeper. This is a townhome, beautiful property in Riverview. Great opportunity. Could be a turnkey investment for you, or maybe just an owner-occupied opportunity. 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, 2-story townhome with a bonus room. Got a resort-style pool. Just a beautiful property. Now, this is on the first floor as well. It's got a large living room, separate dining room, laundry room, as well as a screened-in patio. And it's just a great opportunity. Community pool, plenty of parking for you and your guests. Great opportunity to own real estate right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. That's 219 Castle Keeper Place, Valrico. And also another $1 million listing at 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. This is a beautiful executive style home, corner lot location, gated community, executive style home. You've got a elevator, spiral staircase, 5,253 square feet, gorgeous estate style home. It's the Estates at White Trout Lake. Beautiful property at 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we got Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Fred, welcome back.
Yeah, you mentioned the commission-based advice and this and that. The other. It's amazing because aluminum business is basically commission-driven. A lot of salespeople will sell bells and whistles, extremely unnecessary bells and whistles to drive up their commission. And I'll go to a site where they've already taken 2 bids, and they ask me about all these additional bells and whistles, and I just look at them straight in the eyes. I don't have them at home, so I can't sell them to you because I don't think they're necessary. And it's amazing how that goes on. The homeowner doesn't realize that the majority of the bells and whistles are really not necessary in the screen enclosure business. And I won't get into all that bells and whistles. A lot of stuff comes and goes, but I just think it's, I don't know. I think it's wrong to push something that you are only selling to make more money for yourself.
Right. Yeah, and that's why people like you, Fred. They like doing business with you. We hear a lot of great feedback from all the folks in the community that we've talked to. And let's give a definition of what we're actually talking about is the screen rooms, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. You're providing these beautiful porch, patio, lanai, screen rooms, and pool cages.
Sure. The cages, the majority of my sales has been pool cages throughout the industry, throughout the many years that I've been doing it. And we can even sell a pool cage without the pool, and I do quite a few of them. Same size. People say, yeah, I want the cage. I don't want the pool. I don't want the maintenance. I just want a nice, big, large area, in between space between the inside and the outside. Some of the jobs I've done, which were very impressive, the homeowner actually had a footer installed, footer only, and then they had the AstroTurf people come in and put in AstroTurf, and they made a playland for their children, 45 wide by 30 deep. That's a tremendous playland for their children, and their children are out there having a great time and not getting eaten alive by the bugs or cooked by the sun. I like some of the unusual stuff. I really do. I've been doing this for so many years, and the cookie cutter mundane products, which I still sell, are nowhere near as exciting as the ones that have a lot of different design features to them. And one of the big design features in today's world is the fact that we can offer panoramic view. Say it's a 45-foot wide cage, 30 deep. I can give them two even panels, open panels on the back side, as opposed to having 6 or 7 uprights to stare at and a chair rail. And I think that's a nice concept. I've done quite a few of them. I think you're familiar with them, aren't you, Brandon?
Yeah, that sounds real familiar. Yep, I've seen.
Yeah,
I've seen those
in your
different
neighborhood,
designs.
I think there's a couple of them over there in your neighborhood. I caught a few when I was over there, and with the backdrop on the lake as you are, with your neighbors that have the pools, that's very nice to look out over top of your pool, look through the cage, and don't have a lot of interruptions to so that you can see the lake.
Right. Yeah, that's an important thing. People love to see that. And if you just joined us, we're talking with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, longtime friend of the program here. And Fred can definitely help you sit down and go through a consultation, talk to you about what he offers. Fred, let's dive a little bit into some of the contractor tips and concerns that you're seeing, that we've seen over the years. People, sometimes get taken advantage of by contractors for different reasons, permit issues, things of that nature, and, large deposits. You don't see the contractor if you give them a huge, 50% or more potential for down payment. What do they need to be careful about?
Well, I think today's world, and I'm not sure what the legality of it is. It's my understanding if the job does not commence within a 90-day period, that you cannot collect more than a 10% deposit. I think that's how it's working right now. And in all honesty, let's say pavers, for example. Some people will take the 10% to get the project rolling, and then they may do progressive payments where when the pavers arrive, there's another payment made, and then the final payment on the balance on the back end. And I think that's very fair and very safe. But not everybody wants to offer that, and I just pick pavers. That's just one of many. I have a concrete contractor I've been working with for many years. He only needs 10% up front to get the thing rolling, and then once the job is poured and paid, he may have $4,000 or $5,000 in it. Then he wants to collect his money, but he doesn't get stung. He does nice work and he doesn't get stung, so he's okay. So 10% till the job is done is a very fair number in my opinion.
Right.
If somebody's asking for 50%, it's hard. I don't know that I would pay 50%. However, I do know, like, for example, some of the big box stores, if you order certain carpets or whatever, and it's special order, you have to pay 100% up front before you even see the product. And,
right.
That's today's world. I understand that because basically it's special order, but it's hard to digest that. But if it's a big box store, you know that you're safe. But if it's a contractor who you don't really know who they are, be real careful with deposits, my opinion.
Yeah, especially a roofing contractor. We've seen that story in the past where the contractor shows up, 50% deposit, we'll fix that hole in the roof, that issue that happened from the storm that went by, and then boom. I mean, think about it, 50% of the money up front for not even having to do the work, and these guys just take off. That's a little bit more in a storm chaser situation, so that's something to be, cognizant of there. Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hurricane concerns and prep work, Fred.
Yeah, the cages, back when I get into the business, they were engineered to the 100-mile-an-hour wind load, and they're engineered 145 plus today. And some of them cages that I sold back then are still up. And the cage can take the wind. Where the failure point typically is the connection of the cage to either the ground, how it's fastened, or how it's fastened to the home. And generally, if any of them areas are weak, that cage is in jeopardy, because once it disconnects, it goes. The base is, they're Tapcon, they're steel bolts that go into the concrete. I say 10, 15 years goes by, you need to check the Tapcons. If they're soft, if they're rusted, either replace them or add new ones. Sometimes it's tough to replace them because they're stuck in the concrete, but you need to reinforce your bottom rail on a cage, and always take a look at where the gutter, the super gutter, attaches to the fascia board. If you see any black soot coming down between the two, you may have some rotted fascia wood in there, and that's been the majority of the failure points with the cages in the wind, because they'll disconnect from the house and off they go. And typically the cage itself is fairly strong, but the connection point where it hits the house is weak. That's something that a lot of people overlook. When I've worked through many hurricanes and hurricane damage, the majority of the damage is basically where the house fails, rotted wood, or the base fails. I've even seen situations where many years ago you didn't have to have a footer at the perimeter. A 4-inch slab was fine. I've seen conditions where the slab itself cracked and the cage takes off, and it has a piece of the slab attached to it, because that's the only thing that's holding it down is the concrete. Obviously, in today's world, you have to have a reinforced footer underneath there to eliminate that problem.
Right.
But we've seen it all.
Yeah, I can imagine. I want to take a quick break, and I want to come back more with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. I want to ask you about supply chain, and also there's a potential for a railroad strike coming up. I just found out about on the news program I listened to on the Morning Wire podcast. We're going to be right back here with Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, and talk about supply chain, contractor tips, things to do, things to avoid here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check us out online, consumerqb.com. Download our podcast on iTunes or Google Play. You can find the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast out there as well. And we'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, everybody, it's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy, Brandon Rhymes, a Consumer Quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the Real Estate Quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at ConsumerQB.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Top 100 ranked real estate team in Tampa Bay, certified negotiation experts, part of the Keller Williams Sports and Entertainment Division as well. Real excited about that, and that exclusive group just went under contract on our first $9 million listing, pending sale, $9 million listing with our partners in North Carolina. So real excited about a lot of the momentum around the team. And we like to feature our real estate listings live on air. We help our sellers profit more and sell faster by pitching our listings live on air. Thousands of people seen and heard worldwide daily here on 860 To Answer. We can show 1025 The Bone, Apple TV, Roku, and of course all over the internet on terms of social media. 1605 South Georgia Avenue in Tampa. This is a great opportunity in South Tampa, Palmacia, Hyde Park community. In the Plant High School district, you got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property right at 1,456 square feet, 1605 South Georgia Avenue in Tampa. Hyde Park property, granite countertop, stainless steel appliances, walking distance to Bayshore Boulevard, and also the restaurant district at Howard Avenue. Great opportunity here in beautiful South Tampa. All right, taking you over to Pinellas County. We got an open house going on at this property as well. 852 51st Avenue South. Open house Saturday, 12 to 3, right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 852 51st Avenue, that is, South. Renovated 3-bedroom, 2-bath property. New kitchen, stainless steel appliances, recessed lighting, gray laminate flooring, and a nice split floor plan. Beautiful bathrooms with white tile flooring, as well as the backsplash. Beautiful property. Minutes to the Gulf beaches, shopping in the pier. 852 51st Avenue South, St. Petersburg. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
And we got Fred Muth on the program today. Tampa Screens and Aluminum, longtime friend of the program. We talk about a little bit about hurricane concerns, prep work, things to look at, those TAPCons. We're going to jump into county and city permitting as well as supply chain. Before we do, I want to play a quick clip here, Fred. But not sure if you heard about this railroad strike that's potentially happening. Check this out.
Well, the 2 largest rail worker unions in the country are threatening to go on strike by this Friday if a deal is not reached. Now, these unions represent over 57,000 workers, including crucial engineers and conductors that really keep a huge part of our country's infrastructure going. This month, the American Association of Railroads warned that the strike would, quote, halt most passenger and commuter rail services and also shut down 30% of the country's freight capabilities overnight. At the center of the strike are disagreements over quality of life provisions like vacation and sick time and penalties for missing work. Because of the fragile state of the supply chain, they really came into negotiations with quite a bit of leverage.
All right, so yeah, I get it. You got unions, you got to negotiate, you got the bosses, and yes, we need a certain amount of vacation days, sick pay, etc. But you can't shut down the country in these things. The cost per day, by the way, $2 billion per day if this were to happen. Potential railroad strike. Fred Muth, your opinion?
Well, if something is going really smooth in our country for a few weeks, something else always seems to pop up to jeopardize it. Haven't you noticed that?
Oh yeah.
It took forever to get the containers from China to the West Coast, and then it took forever to get them out of the piers. Now that we're getting them out of the piers, now we're not going to be able to send them by rail to the East Coast.
Right.
Where does it stop? Where does it end, man?
Yeah. Well,
I think it's pathetic.
It's scary. Yeah, it is scary. I mean, there's a fuel an energy crisis in Europe that's bubbling up. That's going to be affecting us. A lot of people are calling for a deep depression, not just a recession. And Steve Cortez is one I listen to a lot when it comes to economics. And I mean, you look at the Purchasing Managers Index. That's one of the indexes that you look at for, these are production managers. These are purchasing managers in the manufacturing, and not only in America, but across the globe. And these PMI indexes are the lowest they've been in years and decades. So when they're not buying raw materials to manufacture goods, what does that tell you about the future outcome?
Sure, and I can appreciate the workforce being treated right. I can appreciate that, but I go back to the days when the steel industry fell apart in this country. Basically, the unions they pushed to get higher wages, this and that and the other. Our steel business went immediately to Germany and Japan.
Right.
We're out. We're done. So, the people should look back and see how detrimental these type of strikes can be. Because between you and I, if the railroads go on strike and there's no work at all, what happens if the railroad ends up shutting down? They're going to be out forever. And that's a stretch, but that is exactly what happened with our steel industry back. I think it was in the 70s when this happened. And it's today we basically don't make steel.
Yeah, and what do we make anymore, right? I mean, it's amazing what's going on with this, and it's been years and years of this uniparty, the sellouts in Washington, D.C., these kickbacks to the elites, the influences that they have, the globalist working to basically weaken America. They don't like America because we're sovereign, and the MAGA movement, the people that love our country, now they're demonized, they're fascist. So, it's a challenging time, and we'll see where this ends up, but I think there's a global movement for the patriotic populist party, and this is, you're seeing it just happen in Sweden too, and establishment types are, they're coming our way. Independents are moving our way, and they're seeing that, look, common sense is common sense.
Common sense is going to rule no matter what, even though it takes a long time for it to basically pop above what's not common, and I think you know what I'm talking about when I say that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and the corporate media, they have their game that they're playing, their suppression polls and things of that nature. But we'll see what plays out in November, especially. So, Fred, what would you say, as far as supply chain? Of course, pending this railroad shutdown. But how are things going in essence right now?
I was just talking about that with two of my customers, and as well as the owners of Tampa Screen, Ricky and Richard. And things were starting to lighten up a little bit. And I said to myself, that's nice, because now I can tell the customer 4 to 6, maybe 7 months on a pool cage. And if we get it done in 4 to 5, they're happy. But, if we have a problem with the railroad, I can't make that statement going forward. Right now, it's starting to lighten up. Right. What's it going to be like in a month or two? I can't tell you, based on what we're talking about with the rail strike.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
There isn't enough trucks typically in this country to truck the containers from the West Coast to the East Coast. The majority of them containers are moved by rail.
Right.
And if rail stops, obviously the truckers are going to try to do it. That's going to be very expensive to truck from the West Coast to the East Coast an overseas container box, a 40-foot box or a 45-foot box, whatever they are.
Yeah.
You can put so many of them on a train and run them across the country for a whole heck of a lot less than you can by trucking them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a big challenge for people. All right, folks, reach out to Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, if you're thinking about putting on a screen room, a lanai, a porch patio, pool cage, any of those types of things. Fred, how do you want folks to find you, the website, and any contact info?
Best way is always by phone. We still have people answer the phones, 813-960-7064, or just go to tampascreensandaluminum.com and pull us up and put a request in for a quote.
tampascreensandaluminum.com, 960-7064. That's a Tampa number, 813. Fred, always a pleasure having you on the program, man.
My pleasure. Nice talking to you.
Likewise. All right. Well, that's Fred Muth. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Shane Socash. He's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. We typically talk about alternative investment opportunities, precious metals, diamonds. If you're looking for a gift for one of your loved ones, great opportunity. David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin coming up. Plus, feel-good story of the day, Bills Isaiah McKenzie does gender reveal touchdown celebration for sister and win over the Rams. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, spending some time with us here, and all that. Reach out to our show hotline. You know, that means the world to us when you reach out to the show hotline, 813-917-1894. Support the local area economy, our local area expert contributors by just reaching out to the show. Any questions, connections you need, we're going to put you in touch with our attorneys, our CPAs, our financial advisors, all types of great home service providers, self-defense experts, tech experts, and more on the Consumer Quarterback Show, 813-917-1894, and you can call or text that line. Coming up here in just one moment, we've got Shane Socash. He's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, and he is a wealth of information and knowledge around alternative investment opportunities, precious metals, diamonds, custom jewelry, buy, sell, trade over at his location in Pinellas County. We're going to jump right back into that. Before we do, let you know about a hot listing here, 9512 Bay Tree Court. This is a Tampa home that we've got, corner lot, open house this weekend, Sunday on the 18th. That's going to be 12 to 3. 9512 Bay Tree Court, property for sale from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, turnkey in town and country. You got an open concept kitchen, stainless steel appliances, plenty of storage, tile throughout, fireplace, nice lawn, as well as a lanai with a small fenced-in backyard, privacy fence as well, and large garage with extra storage. 9512 Bay Tree Court, Tampa, 33615. Now you got an open house going on Sunday, 12 to 3. A great opportunity to see one of our real estate listings. 9031 122nd Avenue. This is a $4.5 million listing that I've got. It's a development deal close to I-75 in Fowler. 15.56 acre site, Fowler Avenue and I-75. Prime development opportunity. Attention builders, developers. I've been getting a lot of calls from multifamily folks wanting to put some multifamily on this site. Folks wanting to talk about potentially for a truck stop. It's currently zoned AR, Agriculture Rural, and it's a great opportunity here. 9031 122nd Avenue in Tampa. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Buy dirt. Find one you can't live without.
All right. So quick shout out to Veteran Gutters, Brandon Porter and his team. If you're thinking about putting gutters on your home, rainy season right now, of course, a great time to reach out to him. Veteran Gutters, American-made product. He served our great country. Brandon Porter and his team do a great job. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, going to the phone lines here. We got Shane Socash, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes, sir. So what's going on in your world? What's new on your end?
So I think the flavor of the last couple of weeks has been we've been buying a lot of bullion. A lot of big bullion deals have come through the store, quite a bit of gold, as well as custom jewelry. It's been a big week for taking in custom jobs, things people kind of dream up and have an idea and come in and sit down with me, and we start the process of bringing those ideas to life.
Yeah, I like that. Have you noticed discretionary income affecting people lately? I mean, the economy's going through a hard time. Credit card debt was up $46 billion in Q2. Student loan debt, of course, we've heard a lot about that in the news. Mortgage debt. How are people? What does it seem to? What's your kind of a take and your feel of the market there?
I've talked to several of our vendors as they come through, and I think, and as well as, I belong to organizations, for our industry, and I think at this point, if anyone says that they're not seeing a reduction in business, they'd be lying to you. We're talking about retail sales.
Right.
It has definitely pulled back. We were on a couple of years of just like, hold on, and retail sales, August, September, have definitely slowed down.
Yeah, absolutely. Same on the real estate side. Setting records 6-8 months ago. You've heard the stories, multiple offers, all that good stuff. But yeah, things are definitely kind of been slowed down. You've noticed the absorption rates decreasing, the days on market increasing on the real estate side. And, the energy is a key to all of it, the fuel and energy challenges. Potential for a railroad strike. We were just talking about that with Fred Muth, and a lot of crazy stuff happening. If you just joined us, we're talking with Shane Socash here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin right here in Pinellas County, Central Avenue in St. Petersburg. So we talk about precious metals as well: gold, silver, platinum. What's your pick of those three?
So I think we've talked a bit before. My background is making jewelry, so I understand metal. I work in silver, gold, and platinum, and platinum does things no other metal will do. And because of that, I think that, and it's so low right now, it's so much lower than gold. I think it's in the mid 800s. I don't have it pulled up at this second. Mm-hmm. I really think it's undervalued. I think at some point industry will find a use for it because it does things no other metal can do. It's not the easiest to come by, but it is definitely something we can get. Gold and silver are readily available, very easy to buy for investment. Platinum's a little trickier, but I do like platinum. I like platinum's prognosis looking out. I think industry will find a use for it. No other metal can fill that, and I think that it stands to make big gains.
So platinum, in other words, has more utility than the others?
It does, yeah. Like, you can take a piece of platinum and put a torch to it and heat it up and bring it to its melting point and then, pull the torch away. And in 5 minutes, it's shiny like before you melted it. Like, no other metal on Earth does that. Everything has what they call fire scale, and it just gets messy when you heat it up, and you got to figure out how to make that go away at some point. And so, I think of like potentially for space, some automotive uses at some point in the future. Maybe we don't even know. Electric cars, who knows?
Yeah.
I think those types of properties that platinum has, no other metal has them.
Right. Yeah, that's it. That makes a lot of sense. And the other side of your business, a large part of your business is custom jewelry and working with diamonds as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we can, we source diamonds now, both lab-grown and natural diamonds. We can get in, we have a handful in stock, and we can get in anything that you need. I'm a big fan of the Gemological Institute of America. That's myself, and I have two other graduate gemologists here in the store from the Gemological Institute of America. It's the most important organization for our industry, and so I tend to stick with GIA diamonds because you can really kind of compare apples to apples with those types of stones. Lab grown as well.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's such an interesting topic. And you also will buy. So buy, sell, trade. Folks come in, they bring these, hey, I found this bucket buried in my backyard. My grandpa passed away, told me about it. You got some interesting stories over the years.
Yeah. Just today we had a gentleman come in with the check we wrote was $210,000 worth of gold coins.
Wow.
And so he came out of the blue, didn't call me, didn't warn me, and wandered in, and it's like, sure, we'll buy them. So we do that. We do it from, we've had a few situations where people didn't know what they had, and we got to really make their day. I wish that the stories came in more frequently, the exceptional stories, because I love sharing them with you, but they just don't happen as frequently as I would like.
Well, that's an interesting one there. So, somebody comes in with $200,000 of coins. They're like, hey, I guess it's my time to cash in. They needed the cash, and you're able to write that big a check.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we do. It's basically commodity investing, gold, silver, platinum. We do it every day. So obviously, we don't see transactions that large every day, but when they come through, they're easy to handle.
Yeah, that's great. I look at that. I like that. And what do they do after they buy them? When you guys just resell?
Oh, what do we do? Yeah, definitely. So we have a certain amount that we keep in stock for, in store. We definitely don't keep that amount, on premises. And then, we go out and we find another buyer out in the ether, to sell the rest to.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the name of the game right there. All right, Shane, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back more with Shane Socash, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. Before we do, I'll let you know about this Unapologetically American Comedy Tour as well, coming to St. Petersburg. It's going to be on October 20th. The Palladium Theater in St. Pete. Our friend Kevin Jackson is hosting this, and it's Kevin Jackson, Tim Wilkins, Brad Stein are three of the comics, and it's based on it's going to be a fillet of our surreal cancel culture world. So on Unapologetically American Comedy Tour, St. Petersburg Palladium Theater, coming up on October 20th. Tickets are around $50, and they have a VIP option as well. But I want to help promote that for Kevin. It's going to be a good time. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be on stage. Not sure how much comedy I'm going to do, but it's going to be a fun time. We're going to take a quick break. Coming back, more with Shane Socash here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, in studio with Martin Gramatica, Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at ConsumerQB.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
All right, welcome back. Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Every day we'd like to tell you something positive in our Feel Good segment. Tell you something good.
Tell me something good.
All right, so the Bills' Isaiah McKenzie does gender reveal touchdown celebration for sister in win over Rams. Buffalo Bills wide receiver already holds the coolest touchdown celebration of the new NFL season. And no, it wasn't because he danced or pulled out a Sharpie or anything, right? He did something sweet for his family instead. When quarterback Josh Allen found McKenzie for the Bills' second touchdown of the game against the Los Angeles Rams in Week 1, McKenzie celebrated with his teammates before getting real close to the camera on him him, and then he yelled, "It's a boy." Why? Well, because his sister, as well as family and friends, were watching the game, and Mackenzie was revealing the gender of his sister's expected baby. Now, that's the ultimate definition of family in football. So, yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Good job on that one, Nick. I like that. So let's see here. So we have our friend Shane Socash. He's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And Shane, we'd like to talk about consumer advocate tips here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And kind of between the break, Nick and I were talking about some of the challenges that people have with buying gold, silver, precious metals, platinum online or even over the phone. Sometimes you see these commercials, and I've heard scams where people will get mailed basically a certificate that says something to the effect that the holder of this certificate has just purchased X amount of gold or silver. Is that a scam that you see? Have you heard of that? What's the consumer tip there?
Well, so I believe there are legitimate sources, for gold on paper. That is not my wheelhouse. It's not. I don't think that all of it is a scam.
Okay.
But I just don't know. In fact, I feel pretty confident that all of it is not a scam. But I would imagine that there are scammers involved in that. The thing that I see are national groups who target older, wealthier folks.
Right.
And they potentially start off with a product that's relatively competitive, and then they develop a friendship, and they call and they say, "Hey, I have this," and "Hey, I have that," and they end up. They can really take them. We do a lot of the cleanup because we do a lot of estate mitigation for attorneys. And, we have to go through and make bids on estates, and a lot of times, the receipts will be folded up in with the merchandise, and it's you can really, really get taken. So there are legitimate mail order companies, especially if you do your research in, or not mail order, but internet, phone type companies. If you do your research and you're making sure that they stay competitive and they don't get you out on some weird product that's, later on down the line you pay too much for and it's hard to sell.
Right.
So that's the thing. As much as I like to say that, locally, we're the most competitive, even if you stick with the brick and mortars in Pinellas County and Hillsborough County, for the most part, somebody may be $5 or $10 cheaper per item, but they're not going to rip you off. It seems to be a reoccurring theme that the brick and mortar places, you get a solid, fair shake, and they don't try to spin you into something that's hard for you to sell, and you pay too much for it up front.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, those are good tips. If you just joined us, we're talking with Shane Socash here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. I want to go to a quick clip here about the economy and some of the stuff happening in and around inflation and the housing.
To pay for housing, either the location you're already in or the home that you want. Well, you're not alone in Biden's economy, because a combination of the Biden recession with a created inflation crisis is making housing incredibly unaffordable for most Americans. Let's look at the numbers in a chalk talk that's powered by Getter. Nationally, since just before the pandemic in 2019, incomes have risen 6.8%. But guess what? Housing prices have risen more than 4 times that much at 29%. The pain is even more acute in blue-dominated jurisdictions like J.B. Pritzker's Illinois, where incomes in the Chicago metro area rose a scant 3% over that time period, and housing prices up 21%. Now, thankfully, Patriots, we have a chance to fix this mess, and we're going to do it this November.
Yeah, so you look at the inflation numbers still 6.8%. Incomes are up 6.88%. Housing, though, housing has far outpaced that, and I think that's a challenge that we're seeing in a lot of the different areas, even areas local to Tampa Bay. Miami, of course, has a big housing issue there as well, not only on the buy side but also on the rent side. But yeah, so the income is not keeping up with the housing paces, and what will happen in the future. That's going to be interesting to see. Shane, tell us a little bit more about what the expectation is. Folks want to come out and visit you. They can go and see you right there on Central Avenue and kind of come in and take a look at the inventory and buy, sell, trade.
That's it. We're kind of old-fashioned that way. The best way to do business with us is to pop in and come speak to. We got a fantastic team, like incredibly knowledgeable. All the credentials our industry requires, and then some. And yeah, it's corner of 40th Street and Central Avenue since 1981, and on Central Avenue since 1971.
40th Street, Central Avenue, Pinellas County, great location, and close to the pier, close to downtown. And on the other side of there, you got the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Bilmar Beach Resort, on the other end of Central. So great location there.
Yeah, it's we're definitely seeing the creep from downtown kind of move in our direction. So
yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yep. All
right, and what's the best website and social media?
So we're on Facebook, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, and then DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com gets you to our website.
All right, good stuff, man. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate you calling in and dropping those nuggets of advice for us there. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Always fun.
Hey, my pleasure.
Take care.
All right, that's Shane Socash. Check him out online, DavidReynoldsJewelryandCoin.com. He's got a social site there, as well as the physical location, 40th Street and Central, right there in Pinellas County. All right, I want to play another clip here, because this is something that I was listening to this morning about major credit card companies, Visa, Amex, American Express. Not only are they going woke and supporting some of the woke culture out there, but now they're going to be tracking gun sales and ammunition sales. Check this out.
Major credit card companies have announced a new merchant category code that will track the sale of guns and ammunition. The move, they say, is necessary to stop mass shootings and crack down on gun trafficking.
Daily Wire culture reporter Megan Basham joins us now to give us the details on this new tracking code. So, Megan, to start, how specifically will this new code work, and which credit card companies are going to apply it?
Yeah, so a merchant category code is a 4-digit number that classifies different types of goods and services you charge on your card. And these classifications are set by the International Standards Organization. That's a regulatory body based in Geneva. Now, before this, gun sales just fell under a general sporting goods code. Now credit card companies will apply a category code to any purchase made at stores that specifically deal in guns and ammunition. But it's not going to be able to capture gun sales at general retailers like Walmart or, say, your big sporting goods chains. If credit card companies deem those transactions to be suspect, they'll be reported to local law enforcement. And as John said, virtually all of the major financial services companies are going to be doing this going forward. Visa, American Express, MasterCard, all of those.
Yeah, so that's a scary proposition, right? I mean, they're going to be tracking. It's another way for big government to monitor, and it's all in the name of your safety. Don't worry, it's in your safety, right? So that's something that we've seen play out over the years. So Visa, Amex, American Express now tracking gun sales, ammunition sales via a merchant category code. And it's saying that it's going to be reported to law enforcement. And just last night I was watching Tucker Carlson, and he had a lady that was on there, and her home was I don't want to say raided. I don't know I don't remember the details, but they were basically FBI showed up at the door and they said, "Oh, it was an anonymous tip. You were seen at and around the January 6th." So-called insurrection, the only insurrection ever in the history of the planet without weapons, right? Without guns, But so it's an anonymous tip. So what's that going to lead to, right? These major credit card companies, not only are they woke, are they cutting off certain conservative businesses? I know our friend Thomas King over at Florida Firearms Academy, he's weighed in on this issue on our show, and he's had situations where he's been cut off by banks. They won't let him process certain transactions. So it's totally not what our country is founded on, the freedoms, the liberty, the Constitution, the ability to have free and fair business trade. They're imposing on that. They're infringing on that. So just want to let you know about that. And hey, another great show. I want to thank our expert contributors, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Shane Socash, David Reynolds, Jewelry and Coin, and of course the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Make sure you check out Kevin Jackson's comedy tour coming up as well, the Unapologetically American Comedy Tour in St. Petersburg on the 20th. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And we'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at ConsumerQB.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.